his living as a pitcher for the Oakland A's, a pretty good one, an all-star last year, but he is also a massive hockey fan, clearly based on the video that we just watched at the Shark Tank. What game was that? Because it was loud.
Yeah, it was game 5 of the playoffs last year. They were down the series, ended up winning that series and advancing the next round. So we got a couple calls to come back, but we just didn't finish our schedule, unfortunately.
Looked like a blast, and the Shark Tank has such a rep, right, as being one of the best atmospheres in the NHL.
That was a crazy series, too.
Yeah, it was an insane series, but just the size of that shark head is phenomenal. It was really cool. I'm an Australian, so the sharks are kind of my thing, but
shouldn't be scared of it then. Exactly, be right at home with that.
Exactly.
So why Australian? You play baseball. You grew up playing Australian rules football. How is it that you managed to become a hockey fan?
Well, I kind of like the brutality of it. Like, you're just charging into people, throwing them into boards. But, yeah, like, my wife was a figure skater and moved on from that. And then she trying to get me into hockey. We live in Florida, where there's an ECHL team down there. And give me a team to go for.
You're following an ECHL team. You guys are legit.
Oh, I mean, I'm just so bummed they took away fighting.
Well, they haven't taken it away completely.
No, not completely.
It is still there. Well, Aussie rules football and hockey can be very similar. There's a lot of violence in the game. It's funny you said you like the violence.
Yeah, I mean,
I know a lot of my friends, Canadians and hockey fans alike, like Aussie rules because of the violence. And we were talking before you came up about some injuries. And now you have a lot more injuries from Aussie rules football than a lot of guys I know from hockey.
Yeah, I mean, we found football on the TSN when I played for the Jays in 15.
Yeah.
Sitting there, my dad's a scout, so I sent him a video. I was like, hey, you see anything you like? See anybody here? He's like, yeah, I have to check it out in person before we make that decision.
Oh, my gosh, that is so funny. I have to ask then, your wife's a figure skater. Can you skate?
Very poorly.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still using the rails like a little bit, but no, I have my skates.
Figure skates or hockey skates?
Hockey skates.
Okay.
I have my skates.
I'm just saying, why's a figure skater?
Yeah, I'm not at the
toe picks are dangerous.
Toe pick I can't do.
Yes.
I've been watching the cutting edge several times.
Yes.
The toe pick, but yeah, I'm not ideal on the skates, but there's always room to improve.
You mentioned your time with the Blue Jays. We have some great footage of you with the Jays taking in a Leafs game, and you made it very clear that you are not a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Taking it in stride, though, I mean, the Toronto Maple Leafs fan base is a passionate one, so that takes guts to show up there.
Passion for passion. I mean, you're a fan through the thick and the thin, and I mean, I've embraced the Habs lifestyle. You see Russell Mutton, and they're not quite having all the Habs stuff on, even though he's a Canadiens fan. We were actually watching every game we could on the bus.
Yeah.
Just from that was the year they were playing the Senators in the playoffs, and yeah, we had it on the iPad, watching it as much as we could.
And have you been to a game in Montreal? Because you went to the game obviously in Toronto, but have you been to the Bell Center, also one of the best buildings in the NHL?
No, we haven't made that trip yet. We did the Winter Classic when they played at Gillette Stadium.
I heard you took planes, trains, and automobiles to get to that game.
Oh, we flew back from Australia, had a wedding in Delaware, left the wedding at 2:30 a.m. to drive to D.C. To get on a flight to get to Boston in time for the game. So
goodness.
To sit outside in 40-degree weather. I mean,
how was it? Did you love it though?
It was a great experience. I still wear the Winter Classic stuff that I got at the game. So
oh, that's awesome.
I got the toque, and I've got the jacket and everything like that. So it's a blast.
So was the original trip planned for the wedding, and then you just realized you had time to go to the Winter Classic, or was the original trip
the wedding
all the way for the Winter Classic?
Of both, I think.
We'll make time for the wedding.
We made time for the wedding. For me, at least. I mean, they were really close friends, so we weren't missing the wedding, but we had to make sure that we could make it to the game as well. So hopefully they get a Winter Classic one of these days in Canada. I mean, I want to see that. Like, get it out there and see where they can put it. Maybe.
There's got to be some good options out there.
I mean, you'd think there would be. I mean, the Rogers Center can't maybe not be able to pull it off, but where the Argonauts play, maybe.
Yeah, BMO maybe. They had it a couple years ago there.
Yeah, we had a few years back. Yes, a little chillier when we get up north of the border.
I mean, you're hockey fans. You're used to it.
No. That's it.
An extra couple beers.
That's it. Exactly. Everyone's like, I'll be like, it's cold, and they'll be like, aren't you Canadian? I'm like, cold is cold. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. But you mentioned you're a Habs fan. Why the Habs? How did Montreal become your team?
It was just the team my wife supported, so we went from there, and I kind of ran with it. Now I've run with it a lot further than she has, to the point where I watch almost every game. I watched the game last night against the Flyers where they won. The game before where they didn't do so well against the Blackhawks, but. Yeah, I try and catch every game I can. I just got my Max Domi jersey in.
Amazing.
I've got my signed PK Subban jersey from back in the day. I've got a signed Pacioretty hat at the house.
Nice.
Yeah, I do what I can. I love my autograph stuff, and yeah, the Canadiens are where it's at.
Well, you've also got a picture with the Stanley Cup. I think we have it.
Yeah.
Give us the story behind how this happened.
So we were in St. Louis last year during the season, and obviously the Blues won the Cup last year, and I found out they were bringing it in. So I ran straight to anyone I could. I'm like, hey, how do we get this in the visiting clubhouse? How do we get this in? How do we get this in here? And they made it work, and a lot of the guys came in, took some photos with it. They wouldn't let us pick it up. They wouldn't let us eat any cereal out of it, so it was kind of disappointing. But
That's all anyone wants to do is eat their favorite cereal out of the cup.
I mean, Fruit Loops out of the Stanley Cup is what it's at. But, yeah, I took a couple photos. I took a photo of the last Canadian team to win it, which happened to be Montreal. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been way too long.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I mean,
Oh,
it's way
it's
too long
been
for
so
every Canadian
long.
team. So, at this point, I think everyone's just hoping for a Canadian team to win.
Yeah, what a story the Blues were, though, last year. Hey,
it's
I mean,
phenomenal.
from last place.
Yeah, you're talking to three people who grew up in the Toronto area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since.
Oh, dear.
No, well, you talk about the Canadian teams winning it when it goes
a drought.
back. Yeah, you don't hear about it as much here, but knowing the Habs, and it is a big thing in Canada, get a Canadian team to win the Cup. So
Just getting a Canadian team to the playoffs now.
that's
That's the first
big
step.
challenge.
Yeah.
If you had to say a hockey player that your favorite hockey player, or maybe one that you would be like, if you were playing hockey, what kind of player would you be?
Oh, I mean, obviously I'm going to go to the Montreal side,
Sure.
but to be honest, I feel like I'd be more kind of along the lines of Gallagher, just
Brendan
annoying
Gallagher?
everybody, just
Yeah.
kind of just a gnat in front of the net. Like
Yeah.
he just sits there. I mean, a big fan of Domi. Obviously, I got his jersey at home, and we kind of have the same haircut when I let this lads a little curly. And obviously, he's from the Toronto area, so I got some actually stuff from Kevin, the visiting clubby in Toronto for the Jays. He's got some stuff that I got signed from Domi. I got a Mitch Marner signed baseball, actually.
Okay.
So I love getting
nice.
guys on baseball, but I gave that to the chaplain for the Toronto Blue Jays, Matt Bowler. So he's got that out there. And but yeah,
Brendan Gallagher, I see it. Physically resembling.
absolutely.
yeah, I mean,
Got
just
it?
annoying as all hell, which apparently I am, according to most people. So,
Well, ask your wife. She's right
sports,
here.
it's a
No, I'm just
compliment.
kidding.
I mean,
Sports-wise,
there's a reason I'm in the bullpen where I'm 400 feet away or
That's it.
100 meters away from all the action, just because they need to get me out of the.
Right,
Well,
now,
listen,
I've seen you pitch, and I've seen your reaction on strikeouts. Now, you see batters when they hit home runs. There's that, the bat toss type of thing. Now, you're pretty excitable when you strike a guy out. You got the fist bumps, and you're walking off the mound. How does that go over with the batters? Because you never hear about it. You never hear about that. But you
I love Shelly.
I'm also in the opinion, if you hit a ball 500 feet, you can flip the bat. I just gave up an absolute bomb. You savored a little bit, but if I'm going to get you out, I'm going to savor that too. I mean, I'm not going to throw my glove in the air or anything.
No, I love the fist bump.
I'm going to bring out the Leighton Hewitt, come on, and do that. But it's just, I've done that for years. I don't know where it came from, where it spurned from. It's now part and parcel.
genuine.
Some of them have been a little like, it's like a ground ball to first base where I'm going over, and then I'm like turning around, I'm like, come on. Like, it's very awkward, but a lot of them are just spur of the moment. It's not pre-planned. It's just the emotions coming out. I mean, I wish I had skates where you could kind of skate along and make it look cool by touching the ice and bringing it up like that. But
It's
it's just,
awesome. That's
Yeah,
great.
if
I
I
love
did-
it. I watch it. It's like, I don't think you see enough of that.
No, I mean,
that raw
passion.
emotion. Yeah, the passion for it.
if everybody does it, nobody end up getting offended by it.
Yes,
I mean, it's
true.
just part and parcel, especially with the day and age we're in. Celebrate it. But
Yes,
don't
I
go,
agree.
like, there's certain times where you can go a little bit too far, but a bat flip doesn't bother me. We have Mark Kenner on our team he bat flipped and said, it's bat flipping season, baby, as he's rounding the bases. But everybody knows that that's what he does.
Yeah.
And so it's not as if he's not insulting that particular pitcher. It's just how he does how he goes about it.
Yeah.
And once you get that through everybody's head, it takes the sting out of it.
Yeah, passion on display is totally fine with me, that's for sure. Really quickly before we let you go, we appreciate you coming in. I wanted to ask you about the Australian fires, or the fires over in Australia. Everyone in your family okay? What's going on there?
Yeah, my family's on the West Coast, so we're doing all right. There's been some fires out there that have been kind of running through some of the farmland and the animals and stuff like that. But we're on my Instagram, it's Hendriks_31. There's a foundation that we're supporting, which is the Red Cross Australia. They're going in there, they're donating time, money, resources to just try and rehouse people and make sure people are safe and able to get out. They're also dropping food into some of the previously burnt places for animals so that they can go in there and have food. They've got a fireman's fund set up so that they any firemen who lose their life or injured or anything like that, their families are taken care of. So it's just a great organization out there that are doing their part for everything going on with the fires. But it's devastating. There's been over 1 billion animals' lives lost, and there's been hundreds of thousands of people displaced through these fires. So any little bit helps. And if you go to my Instagram page, it's on that, and you can swipe up and you can donate to the Red Cross Australia.
Perfect. It is devastating. If you have the ability to give back, please do so. Liam, thanks for coming in. If the Montreal Canadiens are in a playoff push in a couple of months, we might have to bring you on the show
analyst.
via FaceTime. Guest analyst.
I'll be
you can break it
all
down
about
for
it.
us.
All about it.
All right. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.